Alright, so here's our finished product. Summer camps in British Columbia, your kids will love it. And no, there is nothing more Canadian than a week at camp for your kid. So of course, this is just a fun little site. A couple of quick things to look at as we look at what our PSD was versus what ended up being the final product. We actually took the miniature images of our rollovers and created little icons so people would realize that there was something there to look at. These are really simple, and I'm going to show you in the code in just a minute. This is text, as I mentioned earlier. We never make text into graphics unless we absolutely have to, or there's a really good reason for it. And as you can see from Firebug, this is a completely tableless design. We haven't really talked about tables versus CSS, but let me just basically say this. Tables are evil, CSS is good. Yeah, I know. That may be overstating it just a little, especially because in Joomla 1.5 a lot of stuff is output in tables. But in 1.6, apparently we're looking forward to the day when we have no more tables. And there's a lot of really good reasons why we don't want to have tables in our design that we don't have time to go into in this tutorial. Suffice it to say, Google it. Just look up tables versus CSS in HTML and you'll see there are many, many good reasons to not use tables. So in our design, we want to stick with CSS as much as possible. So we have our outer container, we have our layout inner container, our logo, which is at the bottom, our rollovers, which is a main container for friendship, adventure, and discovery, and then finally our slideshow container in the bottom right here. These containers are absolutely positioned and hidden until the rollover, and I'll show you that in a moment in the code. Now I will say that this ended up being an HTML template, not necessarily a Joomla template, but everything we've talked about definitely does apply. So let's take a look at the code. Div ID equals container, H1 tag, summer camps in British Columbia, camps BC, BC summer camps, and that H1 tag is actually hidden using CSS. In the layout div, we have our image, header underscore 07.png. We always define our width and our height. That really helps with IE. And then our alt tag, which is what Google sees and blind readers see when their images are turned off. Summer camps in British Columbia, your kids will love it. Really important that you put your alt tag in for your images. Div ID equals text, div ID equals text body, and this of course is the text in the body of our page. Div ID equals logo. We use the transparent image .png file. This is a 1 pixel by 1 pixel transparent image. That's really, really tiny. Give it a width, give it a height, and then what happens is this logo underneath here is actually covered by a transparent image that then you make into a link. Really simple to do. The rollovers, friendship, adventure, and discovery are defined here. Friendship on Onmouseover. This is a really simple technique to have things pop up when you mouse over an element. And I'd encourage you to steal the code. It's open and I didn't create it. I stole it from somewhere too. You create your divs down here, the friendship image. These are of course hidden until you actually roll over it. This little script on Onmouseover pulls the image and makes it, of course, visible. And when you take your mouse off, it changes it back to invisible or hidden. There is no link to this. We could have easily made links to them, but again, these were just rollovers for information at this point. And then our slideshow, div equals slideshow. Our CSS again is pretty simple. Margin 0 auto, padding 0. This centers the entire design, so if I make the window smaller, you'll see that it keeps it centered. Background color is white. Background image is the bg.jpg, and again, that's this image here. And Firebug is nice enough to show that to me at 16 pixels by 683. If I click and hide that, then of course our background goes back to white. Font family is Tahoma, font size is 14. Image border is none, so I have no boxes around any of my images. I define my container and give it a width, and again a background. The layout 03.jpg, of course, is the main background image to my entire site. And there that is. The layout The logo positioned absolutely. I put the actual logo image in the background and then covered it with a transparent PNG. Didn't need to do that, but I just was feeling different that day. Because of the layout of this page, things needed to be absolutely positioned. Slideshow, same thing. Rollovers, that's the main position for the rollovers, and then friendship, adventure, and discovery. And then friendship image, adventure image, and discovery image, again, visibility, hidden, and very precise placement on a page. This is really important. One of the problems with rollovers like this is if the rollover is covering the link, you'll get a flicker effect, and it's really annoying. So what I did here is I made sure that each image, as it's rolled over, is completely separate from the link itself. This has turned out to be a little fun little project, really simple to do in Photoshop, and you can download the CSS from the session notes below.